Nobody got no beef with Eminem. Ain't no rapper popping nothing about Eminem. Ain't nobody saying nothing. I'm not even gonna say nothing bad about Eminem. Cause way too much stuff rhymes with rock, right? But Eminem don't even like his own mama. So Lord knows what he'll say about your black ass, okay? And Eminem's a white rapper. So his record gonna be on every station, the country station, the talk station. The black rappers just on Hot 97. Now you gotta watch where you sit, everybody. You can't sit 50 then Ja Rule. You can't sit Jay-Z then Nas. Everybody gotta watch out for. You got the Olsen twins over there, so then you gotta put R. Kelly way up there.
Eminem was untouchable. Nobody dared cross him, not even Will Smith. So when Will slapped Chris Rock at the 2022 Oscars, jaws dropped everywhere. But insiders instantly thought, could he have pulled that on Eminem? Because believe it or not, back in the early 2000s, something almost sparked between them. And what went down after? Well, that's probably still a regret Will can't shake. See, Eminem wasn't just some white rapper chasing fame. He came from Detroit's roughest blocks, where surviving was a full-time hustle. This is a guy who once stared down Suge Knight and walked away. Legendary energy. And trust me, this gets crazier. Way before the Oscars, when award shows weren't even a big deal, Will Smith was Hollywood royalty. Late 90s, Bill Clinton still in the White House, MTV dictating what was cool, Will was everywhere. He flipped his Fresh Prince charm into straight-up superstar power. Movies like Men in Black and Independence Day shot him from sitcom star to global icon overnight. And the wild part? He did it all clean. No curse words, no scandals, no drama. Big Willie Style in '97 sold 10 million copies worldwide. Millennium in '99 hit even harder, bagging another Grammy. Will proved you didn't need to act tough or street to dominate the charts. So when he hit the 42nd Grammys in 2000 and proudly said, "I've never used profanity in my records. Rap doesn't need curses to succeed," the crowd went wild. But in Detroit, behind the scenes, someone heard that line differently. 26-year-old Marshall Mathers, Eminem, had just dropped the Slim Shady LP. This wasn't radio-friendly pop. It was chaos, raw emotion, pain you could feel in your bones. Eminem was everything Will wasn't, unfiltered, intense, unpredictable. So Will's clean rap mantra? To Eminem, it sounded like a subtle shot at artists grinding through real struggle. Then the story started. Suge Knight showed up with his crew, tensions flaring. Eminem was ready. Real talk, he dissed the whole safe, sanitized side of rap. In 2000, the real Slim Shady dropped, and bam, he went for Will directly. Will Smith don't got an S in his raps to sell records. Well, I do. F him and F you too. That line hit like lightning. Harsh, bold, unstoppable. Parents freaked. Radio tried to censor it. But the streets, they loved it, shouted it like an anthem. Eminem wasn't playing Hollywood games. He was staking his claim. It went deeper than clean versus explicit. That bar sparked a conversation about power, about who truly earned the top spot in hip-hop. While Will was flying first class, rubbing elbows with A-listers, Eminem was grinding through lawsuits, threats, addiction, and censorship. Survival was the daily mission. Respect, not Grammys, was the goal. And that line? A lyrical sneak attack that made everyone wonder, could Will have handled Eminem face-to-face?
I never killed nobody in none of my records. I don't use no profanity in none of my records, and still I managed to get up here.
Hollywood thought Eminem was a joke at first. Bleached hair, loud, chaotic, just a storm waiting to blow over. Will assumed he was another shock value rapper doomed to fade. But in Detroit, Eminem's foundation was solid and dangerous. His day one brother Proof wasn't just a hype man. He was battle rap royalty, frontman of D12, a crew with serious street cred. Proof ensured Eminem was taken seriously where fame meant nothing and toughness meant everything. In the wrong place without Proof, careers or lives could end fast. With Proof, Eminem moved safe, respected, untouchable. Then came 1998. Dr. Dre signed Eminem to Aftermath. Game changer. Dre, already a legend from NWA and Death Row, now had a weapon. Dre's beats, industry power, and network turned Eminem from local spark to national threat. Will had no idea what was forming. Behind that cartoonish Slim Shady image, Eminem was building a real empire, a network most never saw coming. By 2000, Eminem wasn't just rapping, he was surviving. Arrests, altercations, threats. This wasn't for show. Every move proved life was survival, and music was the battlefield.
Not everybody is as happy as Will Smith. If you feel strong enough about something, then you might put a little before you say exactly what you're saying.
Then, 2002, the power level skyrocketed. 50 Cent signed to Shady Records in Aftermath. Streets felt it immediately. Eminem brought him in full force. With Dre's budget and Interscope's backing, they built an unstoppable triangle. G-Unit, Shady, Aftermath. Every lyric Eminem spat, backed by an army. Dre, Proof, 50, Legal Muscle, strategists. This wasn't just music, it was calculated domination. But the real test, Death Row's Suge Knight. Known for fear, connections, and reputation. Even major execs avoided him. But Eminem didn't flinch. Game says one night Suge rolls in, energy freezing the room. Most panic, some leave, but Eminem stands his ground. 50 Cent, right beside him, no hesitation. That moment, huge.
I don't have the accolades that connect to the performance of my music. I don't have the trophies that match how big the actual records are. The one Grammy I have is for Crack a Bottle. I couldn't even have that without him. You know, and that's why I have so much value for him, not just in my career, just in my life, because he's a guy that, one of my best friends, because I can trust that he's going to be honest with his constructive criticism when it's time to listen to the music before it goes out. He's the only person that did things that I wanted to do. He had the Marshall Mathers LP with 23 million records sold with flags all around the plaque, and I was like, yo, I want that kind of.
Suge built his empire on fear, but here's a white kid from Detroit, standing firm with mindset, muscle, and loyalty. Fans thought Eminem's security was just hired suits. Wrong. Rumor says he had alliances with Samoan crews in LA. Loyal, disciplined, deadly serious. They didn't just protect him, they made him untouchable. Meanwhile, Will Smith lived in a different world. Hollywood star, red carpets, presidents, blockbuster movies. His empire? Protected by agents, publicists, billion-dollar studios. So when Eminem fired a lyrical shot, Will stayed quiet, and wisely so. By then, Eminem wasn't just a rapper, he was a fortress. To challenge him meant challenging a machine. Publicly, Will's Grammy speech seemed innocent, clean lyrics, positivity. Behind the scenes, Eminem took it personally, seeing it as a direct jab. And that sparked a quiet war between two worlds of hip-hop. Polished primetime versus raw, unfiltered survival.
Claims to have seen it all happen. Can you tell me your name, sir?
Yeah, all I know is I'm upstairs, I'm listening to my Will Smith CD, and I seen all these flames going everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a minute, bitch.
You're destroying the
hey, hold on a minute, yo. Detroit, what? Detroit, what?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Detroit, baby.
In Eminem's eyes, Will Music Smith wasn't just speaking for himself. He was the polished mouthpiece for the whole Hollywood machine. Studio bosses, award show gatekeepers, late-night hosts, label execs, basically anyone who didn't want someone like Eminem at their table. By mid-2000, the pressure was crushing. Every lyric was under a microscope by FCC groups and parental boards. Music videos got chopped, talk shows demanded heavy censorship, lawsuits piled up, from his mom, his ex, even random people offended by his songs. It felt like everyone was gunning for him. So when Will dropped that no profanity line at the Grammys in February 2000, right as the Slim Shady LP was blowing up, Eminem saw it as more than coincidence. To him, the industry had found their perfect, safe messenger, someone who could smile for cameras and say exactly what corporate America wanted to hear. Will was, in Eminem's eyes, the polite hitman, a clean-cut figure sent to publicly undermine him without raising a finger. And Eminem? He answered the only way he knew how, with bars that hit like bullets. Just 3 months later, in May 2000, the real Slim Shady dropped, a wild, sarcastic, explosive single from the Marshall Mathers LP with Dre on production. Right in the middle, that line that shook the industry. Will Smith don't got cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do, so F him and F you too. No metaphors, no coded messages, a straight-up open shot. Radio tried to chop it, schools banned it, but fans? They screamed it back like a chant. By June 2000, the real Slim Shady hit #1 in the UK and crashed into the US Billboard Hot 100 at #5 like a wrecking ball. MTV couldn't stop playing the video. Eminem wasn't just winning, he was going global, and his target was crystal clear. Meanwhile, Will Smith's album Millennium, out 6 months earlier in November '99, was already sliding. Even with hits like Will 2000, it couldn't compete with Eminem's cultural tidal wave. Hip-hop was shifting, and everyone felt it. Then, the whispers started. After Eminem's track dropped, a closed-door meeting, Sony or Columbia, told Will to back off. No diss track, no interview, just silence. Rumor had it, Dr. Dre personally delivered the message. Calm for some, serious for others, but crystal clear. Will Smith never spoke on Eminem again. No interviews, no songs, no side comments. He pivoted fully to Hollywood. Ali in 2001, Men in Black 2 in 2002, Bad Boys 2 in 2003. His rap career faded into the background. Eminem, meanwhile, kept swinging. The Marshall Mathers LP dropped May 2000, selling 1.76 million in the first week, a record untouched for over a decade. But the tension? It never fully disappeared. At BET, MTV Movie Awards, Grammy pre-parties, they showed up but never exchanged a word. Fans noticed, body language experts noticed. No handshakes, no nods. Two giants in the same room pretending the other didn't exist. Event planners even staggered their arrivals, seating them on opposite sides just to avoid sparks flying. By this point, the dynamic had shifted. Will remained the polished superstar, the media favorite, but power, it was tilting toward Eminem. By 2002, he wasn't just dropping hits, he was stepping into Hollywood too. 8 Mile was coming, studios were chasing him, and behind him stood Dre, Jimmy Iovine, and a rising 50 Cent, an unstoppable triangle of influence. Eminem wasn't just surviving, he was rewriting the rules. Will understood the system. He knew when to pick battles. So, the ice-cold silence continued. No comments, no responses, no acknowledgement. And while fans thought the drama had died, it hadn't. It just went quiet, lurking in the background. By the early 2000s, Eminem wasn't just the controversial white rapper causing headlines. He was a strategist, calculated, careful, always protected, aware of who was around him. Still edgy to the public, but behind the curtain, he was ready for real pressure. Then in 2003, whispers started spreading. Certain groups in South Central LA wanted Eminem to check in before shows or filming in their areas. Check in wasn't booking a hotel, it meant showing respect, making sure everyone stayed safe. Most artists avoided it, sending a middleman. Eminem? He pulled up. No fear, no sneaky moves, and definitely not alone. His protection wasn't just suits and earpieces. Dre's circle, a loyal, battle-tested crew, kept him safe, experienced in handling real tension. And back in Detroit, Proof in D12 provided backup. On stage, Eminem had Proof running point. He handled tricky situations, kept random people from getting too close, and shielded M from unnecessary problems. Proof knew Detroit inside out, making sure Eminem could move safely in his own city. He even brought in 313 affiliated folks, people who knew how to keep order when things got tense. Basically, Proof was the ultimate shield when things got messy. Out in New York, Eminem linked with 50 Cent, who already had a rep long before Get Rich or Die Tryin' hit in 2003. When 50 rolled in, so did G-Unit, a crew from Southside Queens who'd already been through real pressure. Together, Eminem, Dre, and 50 built a coast-to-coast alliance under Shady Aftermath, bigger than just music. Insiders say Eminem even personally supported 50's early tours, promo in his crew's logistics to keep things safe and organized. This wasn't just a label, it was a team built on loyalty, strategy, and protection from every angle. Nothing public, no flashy headlines, but in a 2003 Hot 97 interview, 50 Cent spelled it out. Eminem believed in me when nobody else did. He didn't just rap with me, he protected me. After that, Eminem never moved solo again. Award shows in LA, packed parties in Miami, media runs in Chicago. Everywhere, his movements were layered. Sure, private security was there, but blended into the mix were trusted allies, making sure everything stayed smooth. Real ones knew Eminem noticed everything around him. He'd seen what happened to Tupac. Fame mixed with street tension could turn deadly fast. So he adjusted. Smarter moves, better planning, a real support system. By 2004, Shady Aftermath wasn't just a brand, it was a fortress. That year, backstage at an LA show, a known West Coast group slipped past security. Maybe they were testing him, maybe curiosity. Either way, they left fast, met by Dre's Samoan allies and Detroit support flown in just for that night. Eminem wasn't a target, he was surrounded by people making it clear things wouldn't go left without consequences. M had built alliances across hip-hop's three toughest cities, Detroit, New York, Los Angeles. He moved like someone who understood real danger, not just studio drama. Even in tracks like White America, Till I Collapse, and like Toy Soldiers, you could hear it. Metaphors about pressure, loyalty, betrayal, surveillance, and the weight of leading while eyes were always on him. His fear wasn't an act, it came from real life. Will Smith, protected by agents, publicists, and billion-dollar studios, never had to navigate that world. Eminem, he not only survived, it thrived. By 2005, people debated whether he was just intense or operating on a whole other level. Anyone who'd crossed paths with him, rappers, execs, or street veterans, knew the truth. Eminem didn't just rap about conflict, he moved with unseen support that kept him untouchable. So why did Will even bring up Eminem? Some say jealousy. Others think Hollywood pushed him, telling him to clean up hip-hop and protect his polished image. But here's the kicker, it backfired spectacularly. Eminem made Will look soft, old school, even exposed a hint of fear behind that Hollywood smile. When Eminem showed up at the Grammys wearing a free Yayo shirt, it wasn't for cameras, it was a street message, not suburbia. The internet exploded. Fans wondered, would Will slap Eminem like he did Chris Rock? The answer was unanimous, no chance. Even now, decades later, the early 2000s stories follow him. Back then, he was unpredictable, intense, and razor-sharp. Some insiders say he once chased a Detroit DJ who refused to play his songs, allegedly with a weapon. No charges, no proof, but the whispers never died. Eminem wasn't acting, he was the character. After that, Eminem never really bounced back as a rapper. Albums dropped with barely a ripple. Meanwhile, Eminem released The Eminem Show, one of the decade's biggest albums. Some fans even think Dre pushed him harder after the Will incident. Nothing confirmed, but it felt personal. Eminem took one comment, flipped it into a global hit, and crushed Will musically. People close to Will say he later admitted he underestimated Eminem from day one. After the Oscars slap, some joked it wasn't even about Chris Rock. It was 20 years of bottled-up frustration unleashed at the wrong guy. Today, Eminem is a Hall of Famer, respected on every level. Will has an Oscar, but his name still trends for the wrong reasons. And it all traces back to one moment, one comment in 1999, testing the wrong rapper. Eminem never needed a follow-up. That single line in The Real Slim Shady said it all. Will never responded, because deep down, Eminem wasn't just a stronger rapper, he was a guy you didn't challenge off the mic either. Some beefs burn out, some simmer quietly for decades. This one, it ended before it even started. One bar from Eminem was enough to shut the situation down. For Will Smith, that single line didn't just hit, it echoed, a warning that never stopped ringing. If you made it this far, smash that like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment for the Popstar channel. Keep rolling with us for wild stories, rap history, and the drama they never show you.